Hello and welcome to another macro video. Today we're looking at working with PDFs. The problem we have, of course, is that macros only work in Microsoft Word. That means that we can't actually use the macros to edit the PDFs, in other words to add the markup to PDFs. However, we can do the analyses that I've been making available to you. Those can all be done provided we can convert the PDFs into Word format. So how do we do that? Well, the traditional way, the old way, was to copy and paste. In other words, we load up our PDF, we select all, Control-C to copy, create a new Word document and Control-V to paste them into the text. And things have changed over the years, and we've now got a new way of, well, there are various online ways of converting which I've never actually tried. Perhaps others can help us on that, but the other obvious way is that from Word 2016 onwards, then you can automatically convert from PDF to Word format. So in other words, you in Word 2016, which I can't demonstrate on here because I'm using Word 2010, you simply open, you say open new file, and then you click on a PDF file and tell it to open that, and Word will then do all the conversions, or at least it will try to, but there can be issues. So suppose we've got this file here, bit of text. So that's what our PDF looks like, first line there, and you've got chapter and you've got non-linear spaces. So it seems fairly obvious that chapter is what we call a soft hyphen. In other words, the hyphen is only there because chapter happens to come at the end of the line, and therefore to avoid white space in the line, the whatever the software was that generated the PDF in the first place has split the word chapter into two with a hyphen. But that's not what we really want when we pull it out of the PDF into Word. Now non-linear there, okay, that's a normal hyphen, what we'd call a hard hyphen, just an actual hyphen. But hang on, is it a real hyphen? It may be that the author actually wrote non-linear without a hyphen, and it's the PDF, or the thing which has created the PDF, which has added the hyphen in order to improve the formatting. So we don't actually know, reading the thing, whether it was meant to be a hard hyphen or a soft hyphen. And Microsoft Word, when it's converting that file, it certainly doesn't know. We might have some intelligence to be able to say, comparing with what the author has done, we want a hard hyphen there, but we don't know. So there are issues. So handling hyphens after the conversion is the crunch question that we've got to deal with. So Word's own way provides the word conversion just as what it is. So what I'm suggesting is that if you're using that technique and you want help, then just send me a sample of what Word has produced from your PDF, and I'll have a look and see if there's ways in which we can use macros to get back to what we really want. Now I have got some old macros that have done this sort of thing before, and they are in my book, but PDF conversion has changed over the years, and many of those macros were written several years ago when PDF conversion was much more crude, and therefore we may need to change those macros to make them applicable to what we're doing now with the Word, the PDFs that have been converted to Word by Word itself. Anyway, what I've got to offer today is the idea of using the copy and paste method, but doing it intelligently. So my idea is to use the copy and paste method, but for you to decide on the hyphenation, not the computer. You may remember from the What Macros, the second What Macros video, that I talked about playing to our strengths. So we've got ourselves and we've got the computer. Each can do certain things. Each has certain strengths. Each has certain weaknesses. Now, as I've shown earlier, the computer doesn't know about non-linear, whether we want it as hyphenated or not. So those are the sort of things that we as a human can deal with, and the computer can do various other things. So what we're going to use here are two macros, one old one, the PDF hyphen checker, which has now been improved to work with the new way of doing things, and a new macro called PDF hyphen remover. So the PDF hyphen remover, let's have a file that has been worked on, and what I've done is here's the file, but what I've done with it is I have enigmatized it so that you can't actually, this is a live document, is a real document, but I've used an enigmatizing program I've written which will avoid you being able to read what the author has actually written. It's just gobbledygook. However, I've done it so that the first word of each line and the last word of the line is a bit more sensible. Right, so we want to use this, and I'm saying this is what we have copied and pasted from our PDF. And there's our chapter, and then we've got another one here, permutahedral, so on. So those hyphens we want to get rid of. So hyphen remover gets rid of those end of line hyphens and pulls ter up to chap, and it pulls hedral up to permuta, and another one similar there, and ickle goes on the end of dynam, and so on. So we run that macro first. So I've put the macros I want to demonstrate on my macro menu. So the first one is hyphen remover, number 1. So I run that, and okay, it's pulled those up onto the next line. And then we want to use the hyphen checker. Now to do that, I actually want to have a second view of this file. You'll see why in a minute. So I run number 5, which is add new window 5. So I've got a second window here on the same file, and I'm going to run to the end there, and so that you can see it. So because something is going to happen at the end of the file while I'm working on the main part of the file, or on the top part of the file. Right, so I run the PDF hyphen checker. I can run it with C. So it looks down, and it's found permutahedral, and it's saying, is that an OK word? And I want to say, yes, that's OK. Click yes, and so it puts permutahedral in my OK words list that it's created at the end of the file. And it is also, if you look here where my pointer is, because it now knows that permutahedral is a proper word, it hasn't bothered asking me about that second occurrence of permutahedral. It's just gone straight on further down, and it's found subcomplex. Now it's now saying, is it okay to change subcomplex? In other words, it's worked out that it could be a 2-part word that should be hyphenated, and it's asking me, is that what you want? So I can decide whether I do or don't want that. So I'm going to say yes, that's what I want. Goes down, it's found homotopy, yes, that's an OK word. Add that down there, and it's churning away, looking through the end of line words. Groupoids, yes, you may not believe it, but groupoids is a word in this document. Cryptographic, is that an OK word? Well, that's not, clearly, because that's a spelling error. So I can say no, and it will carry on through the document, checking more, or I can click cancel, which means that it comes out of the macro and allows me to change it. But in this case we don't want to do that because that is a spelling error, so we want that highlighted later so that we can see it when we're doing our actual work on the PDF, and we want to look back to the Word file and make sure that we've caught all the spelling errors. So is that an OK word? No, it's not. And then we go, carries on down, and it's found homotopic. I don't know. So we say yes, that's an OK word. And another homotopical. Is that OK to change? No, it's not, because homotopical is a word, so I say no, it's not OK to change it. And again, it's added that to the list, homotopical. Is it OK to change pipline? Well, that's presumably pipeline, so we say no. Anyway, you've got the basic idea of what that macro does. We're going to stop that. Right, so we continue with that through the whole document, and then we've got a file that we can use to run all our analyses. So let's put that out the way for the moment. It produces this OK words list, which actually can be useful later, as you will see. Right, so we've got the converted file, so we can use that to do our analyses and to prepare ourselves a style sheet that we can use for the job. And these are hopefully by now familiar analysis programs that we've got. And if you remember, we've got the new analyse macro, which will run any or all of these at one go without you stopping and starting all the different macros. Then we make our style decisions, and then what we want to do is to highlight the changes in this Word file that we've created, highlight the changes needed there, so then we can check back when we've done our editing of the PDF to see that we haven't missed any. Okay, so we want to highlight the spelling errors. So I do actually have to go to a real file now. This is the real one, but what I've done is put a dummy sentence at the front there, and I'm not going to open it out so you can't see the rest of the file. But we want to run a spelling error lister because we need a list of all the spelling errors. So spelling error lister is 3, so I run that. English UK, yes, so off it goes. This is a latest version of spelling error lister, and we can I've added a feature that can use these OK words that are created by the other macro. So here we are. We've got our words that it is saying are spelling errors, and our job now, so wind it up a bit. Our job now is to look at these and work out which of these are actually spelling errors and highlight them. So abelian is a spelling error because it should have been a capital A. Becus is a spelling error anyway. Boolean also should have been a capital letter. Correspond, only one R. Okay, so that crystallographic, that's the one you saw before. Okay, so we highlight those spelling errors, and then we run a spelling error highlighter, which is also a new version, and that then will add the highlighting to all those words in the actual text, so that I can look down through my text with all its highlights in, and well, let's just do it anyway. So we'll run spelling error highlighter, which is 4. Boing. So it says it's highlighted all those errors. So it's added those highlights in there, and there'll be a lot more below. Okay, so what I was saying about the OK words list is that when you run the spelling error lister, the spelling error highlighter, the lister, it will not highlight words which are in the OK words list. So if I go to the end of that file and I get myself an OK words list, which I've got somewhere. Yep, found it, here we go. So here's our OK words list. So these are OK words, all these homotopical and whatnot, those are acceptable words. So if I copy that lot and put that at the bottom of the file, that's the bottom of the Word file of my document, so I paste those in there, so I've got those at the end of the file. If I now run the lister, which is number 3 on there, so it'll take a little while to run through this, but we can just chat amongst ourselves while it goes. So it's 92%. So what it's going to do is it's going to ignore these OK words and not tell me that they are errors. So it's 30%, going down 20%, almost there. Right, here it comes. Okay, so let's move that out of the way. So we've got the spelling error list here that it's just produced, and you can probably see that it's got fewer errors, fewer words in it, because it now knows that all these homomorphisms and topicals and things, it knows they're not spelling errors, so it's not listed them in the spelling error list. So that OK words list came from your working through the document and checking all those hyphenations. That OK words list would be copied and pasted into the document. Then our spelling error list would be a lot simpler because it hasn't got the words that we know are OK words. Right, so we're just about there, I think. Oh yes, because I'm a bit of a Fredit maniac, what I also do is to add into the list of spelling errors here. Well, it says spelling errors, but it's a list of words to be highlighted. If I've got other errors that I want highlighting, so I've got these ones here, some from the proper noun errors, hyphenation errors, word parallelize errors. So if I take those and copy those and add those anywhere, it doesn't matter where you put them really. If I add those into the spelling errors list, move that out of the way, get my document back. Oops, you didn't see that. So here we are at the top of the file. It's already had the green highlights added, but whatever. So this time, if we run the spelling error highlighter, number 4, so oops, sorry, I've got the wrong error. It's taken the error list that it's this error list we want. Okay, so try again. Number 4, highlighter. Okay, so it's highlighted all the errors. It's highlighted the spelling errors in green. It's highlighted these other ones in different colours. I mean, okay, I've seeded them into that first silly paragraph just so you can see them being added. So now as I read the PDF, I can check back across to this Word file and make sure I've caught all these errors in the document. Right, well, I reckon I've just about made it to the end there. So if you've got any queries or you want to send me any of those converted PDFs that have gone wrong, please do. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye.